or any idea in mind, any flyer we should create, anybody can actually suggest something for us to create today. We're basically creating a flyer, but what you based on what you suggest, then we create. I'll create that flyer, and as I'm doing that, I'll take you through all the steps involved. So if anyone from the audience has anything, any idea whatsoever, just let me know, and I start creating that. Yes, I think Selom has raised his hand.
I was thinking to create a flyer for a podcast show about space and astronomy.
Space and astronomy. Wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's nice. Okay, so space and astronomy. So when you receive a flyer request like that from say a client or something, at that point you have to get all your details first. All right. So we'll start with the our details. What kind of details are we going to be working with? What's the name of the podcast? That'll be number one. Excellent. Can you help me out here?
Um. Okay. Let's just say SpaceX podcast.
SpaceX podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else having ideas to contribute to the podcast idea? So is the podcast like is a podcast, right? So we are looking at a podcast. It will be a social media flyer. So straight ahead, I should start. I'll go and create my new folder or my new file. Now, whatever app you are going to be using, be it Photoshop or Canva or Pixel Lab, this is going to be the design process. Okay, so it works for any of them. So with our podcast called SpaceX, I'll need something to inspire my design idea. All right, so I quickly head on to Google, just type podcast. Then I can be looking for podcasts, podcast design, so as simple as that. Then I can also look for podcasts, um, social media flyer, add design again to it. All right, and I'll have these. I just go straight to my images, come over here, images, come over here, images. Yes, and that should give me something that should give me like ideas, okay, to pick from it. So you can look at the flyers collectively and just try and see how the trend is with podcasts. Okay, um, then we'll decide to go with one of them also. Let's see. SpaceX. All right. So aside Google, we'll head over to Pinterest. I've been using Pinterest for a while now. It's very reliable. The other sources too you can use. Then we'll go to let's see, we'll go to unsplash.com. Unsplash.com too should give you a variety of ideas, but it's more of stock images. So I can start looking for my um, space or astronomy, any related image like that. Then I'll head on to perhaps freepick.com. And with freepick.com, I can also decide to get a lot of templates of text, of flyers, like a whole lot of images and stuff over there. So with my pictures, let me see. I'm getting these shapes and things, these images, and that should probably give me, or that should probably help me generate the ideas that I'm going to have for the podcast. Okay, I like this one over here. Okay, let me see my other example. So with podcast, this is just a plain podcast. We have these things. Okay, so let's see. We also have these, and we have these ones also. So basically, what you set out to do is you'd have to sketch. You'd have to sketch the idea. Okay, so I'll go to Pinterest and search for podcast design or podcast flyer design. Okay, and Pinterest would give you very nice ones. You can use Instagram, you can use even YouTube, you can use even TikTok. Yeah, you get nice things over there too. It says SpaceX. You can just add a SpaceX to it. Maybe I'll get something. Alright, so if you've been given a flyer and it's not within your niche, you start exploring to how that niche is, the trend in there, and some of the key things which would um, really make the flyer speak out for the person you're working for. Basically, you've seen that with all these flyers, most of them are taking the um, 180 by 180 shape. That's a square shape. Okay. So with these things in mind, my dimension, I'm going to be using the 180 by 180. So I'll head on to Photoshop, um, go to new, go to photo, or just type out, or just type the 1080 by 1080. Okay, make sure everything's alright and head on to create. I'm coming. I have a call. Yeah, so I'll head on to create. Now when I head on to create, I've created this one. Coming up, give me a second or so.
Please try again later.
Okay. Let me continue. Yeah, so you have this. Then you probably want to get the information you'll be using for the flyer also. So you may decide to type everything on the flyer. Okay, so we'll just set our color to black for the time being. Alright. So it's a SpaceX podcast. For the podcast, who is the host? Who is hosting? So Selon Benjamin is hosting. just reduce the size so it's, it's clear. Then let's say what else? Let's say mod. Mod is guest speaker. So okay. I had a call. So let's just continue. So we have this. We have our space podcast. Let's see. All right. So this is our space podcast. Um, guest speaker would be more Dajimine. All right. So we have this. So we've gotten our dimensions right. Resolution we are using 100. Font, background, theme, color theory. So let's head over to our inspiration and look for something which would inspire our theme we are going to be using. So we have minimalist themes. Okay, this is sort of minimalist. This it's just plain things, not nothing too complex. Just plain shades like this. This is sort of minimalist infographic type. We can go with this one, or we can go with this. Yeah, this has quite a lot of things in. And with this one, I think it's very. I think it's the usual thing we see. Would try and see. We would see for most of the podcasts. Okay. Um, let's try this one too and see. This too is nice. It's not bad. What else? And there's this too. They're very simple. Also cool. All right, so let's for the themes for the podcast. Basically, if you have a podcast and you don't include your mic, so saying a podcast 90, we would add that to it later. Now let's look at the SpaceX thing. So what's SpaceX about? So look for SpaceX and see. Basically, it's about we are doing astronomy and those stuff. Either we show we have a picture of the sky, it's the sky, the space or the galaxies, or we are going to be doing we now going out. Okay, so maybe something like this. It's not bad. This two isn't bad. SpaceX, they have a logo, so we'll just pick the logo from here. Okay, I'll just demonstrate how we are going to be picking logos. All right, so I have this, or for the logo sake, I'll just pick this one. Okay, now you wait for the image to load. It's 1300 by 567. I right click and say copy, come into my Photoshop, and I'm about to start making my flyer. So I start organizing my files. How do I do that? I know I'll be creating a background, so at the bottom side I'll create um, a folder. To prevent people from getting confused, let me just use the default workspace. Okay, so you just come to window, go to workspace and choose default. That's the essentials default. This timeline over here, if yours appears like that, you remove it, you come to window and come to timeline, turn it off. Yes, so basically this is what everybody we have on this PC. All right, so I create this group. I'll name it. oh, My workspace I did include all the shortcuts, but I may have to manually rename the group now. So I'll come to let's see, rename group. I can't seem to find where the rename is, but we'll just go ahead like that. So basically, yeah, you rename your group, name it background. You have another group for this group. You have another here. So you go to layer, you rename group. Yeah. Then we'll rename this background. We'll create another group. Then we'll go to layer, come to rename group. We'll name that let's say our text. Okay. Then we'll create another one. We'll name this one our socials. Rename group. Name is social. Socials or lower thirds. I think the right name will be lower thirds. So let me just lower thirds like this. Then if there's any thing to overlay, so create another group, name it overlay. All right, and what I like to do is I place the idea, the inspiration always on top. All right, so basically we have this. If your workspace, the background isn't white, you can just right click at this empty area and select any of them. The default I think should be dark gray or medium gray. Yeah. So basically we have this. We have Space X podcast, the title, we have our host, we have our guest speaker, what else? The logo. So we come and copy this image here. And we've spoken about selections. Okay, selections here. All right, so with the selections, this is how you are going to go about it. Now we want the logo, and the logo would be part of the lower third. All right, the lower third is basically anything which is sort of promoting whatever. So be it the logos, the name of the organization, your contact, all those things are called lower thirds. So we would include that. So we just paste it. You can just drag and drop. You can drag like this. I'm using Alt and Tab to switch between my workspace or my windows, or you can just drag it, go to Photoshop below, now bring it here, drop it. If it doesn't work, just copy it and come to Photoshop and press Ctrl V. It should come like this. Now when it comes here, what I want to do is maybe probably enlarge it, to zoom in, check if it's clear, if it's sharp enough, place it in the center so that I don't get any I don't cut out some portions. All right, so I want to crop out my my logo format. So I use the marquee tool here, select the logo portion, then mask it. We did masking the other time. So if you check the previous video, you see the masking. Now I have this. I would want to work on just this for the time being. So I'll use my Alt and click on this one, this layer here, the eye, and it should solo or make visible just the logo. Now I intentionally chose a black and a white logo background because of this. I can head over to my select tool here and go to color range. Now with my color range, I will decide to select white. Okay, so I'll just come and select the white over here. Now when you select your white, you would adjust the fuzziness. All right, so if I reduce the fuzziness, it sort of allows you to select other things which are close to the white. That's ash. Okay, so you see over here that some other black portions are also shown. So we don't want that. So increase the fuzziness, then it gets sharper. All right, so increase the fuzziness a bit. Then we select OK. Now when you select OK, we have this. Now once you do this, you gently hold on your Alt key, click on the eye back, then everything will show as it was. Now you realize that the SpaceX logo has been cut out of it, out of the our picture. Now I told you that the masking is actually the is a non-destructive way. So if I hold on Shift plus I click on the mask, I should get my image back again here. Right, just that the mask this time is inactive or it's off, so I can just click on it and it will just go back to the mask. Now second thing is that the spaces has been cut out. I actually wanted the space X to be the one that is being shown, so I'll just invert it. So I'll right click and say let's see, select a mask, go to the select a mask key, then I'll decide to over here change this the back, how the thing I'm selecting should be. So this shows that these are the things I've cut out. The pink color we selected here, or the purple color here. So I'd want to invert the selection. So invert is over here. Okay. Invert is here. So I'll click on invert and it will invert it. Now pink over here will stand for the things which are being cut out. So I'm good to go. Second thing I want to do is to refine my selection. To refine my selection, I have to use these tools over here. So basically what you want to do is to shift the edge inward a bit, increase your contrast, and use some smoothing. Okay, smoothen it a bit. Then we are good to go. Click on OK, and this time we have our logo here. Basically, that is it. So after doing this, then you can decide to now take out the other portions. Either you use the marquee to M and delete these portions from the image itself. Okay, this time I'm deleting it from the image itself. I can decide that, okay, fine, I won't delete it from the image. I'll still go ahead and mask it out. So it's masking it out. I want to use my brush tool. I'll go to my brush over here, right click and select the hard brush. Then make sure the hardness is increased to 100. It will make the edges very sharp like this. Then I'll just mask out these portions like this. Now when you mask it out, remember it's non-destructive, so I can still get the actual image there. I'll move this layer. I'll click on this portion of the layer, move it with my move to vein or over here like this. All right, I think it's okay. Now that I've removed this, we want to reduce the size Okay, so right click on it, apply the layer mask. When you apply the layer mask, it becomes fixed. Okay, so you take literally taking out everything. Or I can decide to go back, create a smart object. When I create a smart object, what happens is that I can still go into my smart objects like this by double clicking. It opens a different Photoshop file. If I decide to unhide or reveal the initial image by turning off the mask, I can get the actual image back again. Okay, and with the smart object, what happens is that when you save it, okay, because it's a different document, when you come back to the document you are working on, you should have the effects or whatever change you've made visible on your current document. Okay, I've just introduced you to smart objects, but later you can explore more on that. So I'll just save this back like this, come over here, and we are good to go. We have SpaceX here. Now the SpaceX logo has some black outlines and things, but I may not need that. So I'll just add a solid color layer, make it probably red or something, and clip it to the next one. By clipping, you have to hold on the Alt key, and in between the lines, you would clip it between. You see that the mouse button will change when you get in between the line. Then the red will sort of clip into the layer below. So enter it. So now once it enters it, it will be constrained within the shape over here. All right. So basically, that's how to do that. So we singled out our SpaceX logo. All right. So next thing, what do? We have our SpaceX here. It's a smart object. I converted it to a smart object because once it's a smart object, it retains its quality. So no matter how small I make it become, it will still be sharp after enlarging it again. So it's small over here, but it's quite sharp. Let's see. If I enlarge it again, Control T, I enlarge it. Yeah, I still retain the sharpness of the image. Okay, so that's that. So I've gotten my logo. Next, I want a background image, a very nice background image. Let's see. Podcast. There's a lot, but so come over here and see if you can add one or two elements which would actually be helpful. I think I like this one, but with this one there's a template all over it. There's a unsplash watermark on it. So I'll go for something else. This looks nice. So I'll go for this one. Now it's on splash.com. There are free stocks, but some of them are paid. So you may want to look at the type you are downloading. Or maybe let's say this one. I like this one. Okay. So I'll download it by either right clicking and saying copy. Right. Switch back here. Now this is going to be my background. So I'll click on my background and paste it in my background like this. And you see once I pasted it here, the image is very huge. It's like really big. And it's big because the image resolution is very chill. Like it's actually huge. But if I had, let me close this. If for instance I came here, let's see. Yes, this image here. If I right clicked here and I said copy and I head over to my app here and I pasted, now before I'm pasting, I'll click on the layer which I want it to appear on top of. I say Control V. You see that now this image becomes very small. Okay, now that's the difference between copying the thing wrongly and copying the right thing. To copy something rightly, you may have to go to the source of it. Either you open the website and get the high resolution, because this over here you see is just a thumbnail. It's just a previewed compressed image. Okay, and it's compressed just to fit this thumbnail, just to fit this frame, which should be less than 1080 pixels. All right. So when you paste it here, it will be the same thing. Get it's not really sharp. All right. See, this is not really sharp. Unlike this one, this is actually sharp. So that's the difference. And once you know this, you always try to get, you always try and aim for high resolution images. All right. Now, because secondly, because my or next because my podcast or my color over here is being clipped into the SpaceX logo, I can always change the logo color because of this. Okay. One nice thing about color theory, which is over here, is that with color theory, that's the first thing we have over here. What you want to do is when you have a picture or an image, start using the picture's colors to define the colors. Okay, basically that is like a rule of thumb with color theory. So just pick the same thing and just be pasting it there. All right, so we have space X here like this. Let's try and arrange our logo. Let's say I want to place it here or here or here. If I place it here, let's see, if I place it here, it means that this will have to change and go this way. It's not bad. Or maybe like this. Let's say I wanted it like this instead. Okay, something like this. All right. So we have our background. We may need to do some overlaying. That's what we have here, overlay. So I'll come over here and it's SpaceX, astronomy and things. So I may want some elements from space. So I'll come for a galaxy over here, paste it. You see it's very big. Yeah. So we'll take this one to paste it here. Go to our blending mode and select lighting because it's light we want to show. It's the lighter portions or the light portions we want to make appear. So either lighting or anything within here or overlay. By overlay would put some contrast in it. Soft light is more relaxed. So either lighting or screen. By screen will make it appear lighter and hazy, or color dodge of this, but basically lighting. So I'll come here, probably use this one. I'll find a way of I'll find a place of putting it later, but for now, this is what we have. Now space is dark, so we want to use our space a darker shade. So my background, I'll be using black. Okay, black like this. Just attach it to the background portion. I'm still working out on the arrangement in my head. All right. So let's see what it gets. Let's see where we'll get to. I think this is looking nice now. Just that shade thing showing. You may decide to reduce the sizes to see how best it fits. But before you reduce the size, always convert to a smart object. That way, you know that yes, once you increase your size again, you are getting a very sharp image. Okay, so we have something like this. So this is just a simple flyer. Okay, it's not anything complex. So we have this, we have SpaceX here. The SpaceX color is looking nice. Alright, so sometimes what happens is that when you see this layer is on top of the logo layer, which means that when I want to select my SpaceX, what's actually happening is that I'm actually selecting the color layer. Alright, selecting the color layer. So because I don't want to be selecting the color layer each time, I'll just have to lock it. You lock it by coming over here. There's a button here. So you lock it. So now when I select it, just skips that layer and goes straight to the okay. So it's going straight to the logo layer. All right. So like this. This is cool. I don't know if this thing isn't working right or not, but let me just leave it here for now. Alright, so next we have our background images. I haven't cleaned it, I haven't merged everything yet. Okay, I'm just importing the stuff first. Okay, what else can we use? I think I'm tired of the Galaxy things. So I need more inspiration. We need our podcast, our mic. Either our mic or we'll go for our sound waves. Alright. Now either I use sound waves like this or I go for the minimalist sort of sound wave, which is this. This is indeed a minimalist design. This is minimalist. If I should want to merge this one here, let me see, copy, come here. This should be around the overlay. So I'll paste it here. Let's see. It may not fit well for this. Okay, two different design ideas. Sometimes you can decide to blend in, but sometimes too you can leave it out. So I'm going to look for the microphone. Then we can probably put it somewhere below also. Now I spoke of sketching. Alright, sketching. Just add that to this list. So sketching. So sometimes you may want to sketch what you are going to be doing. Currently, I have in mind that I'm supposed to be adding the host name and things. Alright. I also have to add the word podcast to it. So let me just add the podcast right away. Add it to my text, please. Increase the font. Okay, now let me add podcast. So add podcast to it. Alright, podcast. So we have the word podcast here like this. Good. Now, at this point, looking quite okay. Now let's see. We would want to do our arrangements. I don't know if I spoke about the arrangements. I spoke about dimensions. Let's look at arrangements this time. So arrangements. Okay. So with our arrangements, what are we looking at? It's basically using the grid. Okay. When you're working on a Microsoft Word project, you'll be using an A4 sheet and you also be using normal margins. Whereas sometimes you may want to switch the margins to narrow margins or bigger margins. Now what happens is that with Photoshop 2 or with Pixel Lab or Canva, you may decide to have those margins either as you are doing like on the app, or you can just try and sort of have a fair idea of where you are going to with the margin or how you are going to be positioning your text. My rule of thumb I always use and advise to use is the layout 10 by 10. So I'll go to my view guides, create a new guide layout and go with 10 by 10. Okay, I'll make this light gray so you just see what I'm working with. Alright, and let me make sure that the thing is recording. Alright, 42 minutes now. So with my layout, what I usually do is this: to get like really nice, cool, official looking things, you would try and position any text within this bounding box or within this bounding guide. This, okay, everything you should be working on should be within this. That's in terms of text. All right, so your whole text should be within this. To change the color of your rectangle, you can just double click the layer. There's a picture in the layer, just change it. Yes, so basically try and make sure that everything is within this and you should be good to go. That is just a rule of thumb. Okay, it just helps sometimes. Okay, so with that in mind, I can position the text anywhere I want. Can always switch off the guides at any point. Um, view guides. Yeah, you can lock the guide. So you can also hide the guides by using Control plus semicolon. All right. Yes. So that's that. Now let's try going for more inspiration. I'm out of ideas now. So I'll come back here, and the podcast has to stand out sometimes. Um, there's this. Let me just quickly add my mic, the microphone to it. I know that at least I've gotten my mic set. So to add my mic, I will just use Google. It's that easy when you do it that way. Use Google, look for microphone. Okay, when you look for microphone, you come to images. You realize that it's all about what you're searching for. And when I look for microphone, this is what I get. If I go for this one, I may have to do the selection again, but I don't want that. So what I'd rather do, okay, I have one here. So look at how it's named. It's named as microphone vintage look, old style, dynamic vocal, classic record, studio stage voice. That's just so that when the person does the search, you can get something like this. So you can just look for this mic or this mic. This mic too is nice. I'm saying nice because my thing over here is quite dark. Okay, so I'll just go for that one instead. Now, with the way this background is, you see that there's this halo effect, halo for this yellowish halo thing, which means at the end of the day, now I'm going to be creating a halo effect for most of my things, and that will constitute of my theme. Okay, so the halo effect that I'm going to be using will now be addressing my theme. Okay, you've gotten almost one hour. Let me just wrap up. So I'll come here and I'll go for this image. Okay, so if when I view this image here, 612 by 612, it's not so good. The resolution isn't so good, but let's see what we can do with it. So I'll come to overlay here, or maybe background. I can add it to the background. Click on a layer here, paste it. It's not bad. Then uh, yeah, then I can decide to move it here. But first, I may want to have to remove the select it. So the same way we did the selection, go select, solo it out, select it, select the white portion, reduce the fuzziness, slowly increase it. Um, Black means that it shouldn't show. So basically, I'm working inversely by the way. So I'm taking it out like this. I just make sure it's black. So I just don't want this portion. Let me zoom in. Okay, see, because the image isn't sharp, that's the more reason why we have to suffer with our selection. If you have a sharper image, you wouldn't suffer. So see these portions. Yes, it doesn't make the selection good. So just try and get rid of that. I think this is okay. It's not the best, but we'll refine the selection. So now when you have this like this, it's being selected like this, but we want to take out some portions or include some portions. But for now, let's see. I'll go to my quick selection brush, then quickly select these other portions too. Use the brush to the selection tool. Okay. Now it's selected the inverse. It has actually selected the white portion. So to select the, it's like you want to select the white portion. So if it's not part of it, you will use the alt, holding my alt key, or over here come to the top minus. You can, oh sorry, yeah, minus, You have to hold the alt key, then do the selection. Alright, I'll invert the selection. This time I'm not inverting the mask. If I was inverting the mask, I'll use Control I. Inverting the selection will be Control Shift plus I. So I'll do that and I'll get just this. Then I can mask it out. Okay. Yes, so I've masked it out. I think it's quite clean. But you see these portions are shown. So I'll come back to my mask. Click on the brush tool. Make sure that I want to show. So I'll use white instead. Okay. If I paint here, it's actually taking it away because the brush is black. So I'll flip it. This button here. Okay, that flipping button is, you can also use the X for that. Then I'll paint white to show these areas instead, because these areas are white, so I don't want it to be taken out. So I'll come and paint here. Okay, see that these areas too have been taken out, so I'll just bring them back again. We'll be having holes in our microphone. Right, so I'll just bring these areas back. This, scroll up, enlarge my brush now, because at this point I want all these areas showing. Now whilst you are doing the masking and things, then you can be still developing your podcast idea in your mind whilst you're at it. Okay, I think we are good to go. Yeah. So to solo this selection, I use the Alt. So when I'm done, I'll still do the same thing. Alt and click on it, and everything will show. Now that everything is showing, I think you will realize that there's a white background around it. So what do? You would double click. Okay. Then we would say edge shift. It would shift it inward a bit. You can try the opposite way too. So you shift it inward a bit, add some contrast, add some feather. What the feather will do is that it's trying to feather the selection. So if I feather the selection, some would eat into the original thing. So I use the feather to control how bad it should eat into it. Okay. So I'll use that to take out the white borders around it. You can see some portions over here are in down well. You can decide to ignore or correct it, but then sometimes these things happen. It's not so sharpened or it's not so round, and all. You can use the radius to correct that. Okay. Then you would increase the contrast some more. That should be looking okay. You can also do the painting thing from here. Alright, so if I paint here, you realize that it's also adding it to it. Alright, these portions too here. Alright, I think we have something good. So we have this. Good. Now bear in mind that this selection that we've done here, if I should enlarge this microphone, it means that we are going to be getting things which are not so sharp. Right. So before you do that, I'll apply the mask because I don't need the white background. I'll convert to smart objects. I can decide to be naming my files. Okay, but I'll skip that. Let's see. This thing, I want to place it somewhere. I'm not getting somewhere nice to place it. So let's just maintain it on top here. Alright, so we have this. See, whenever I'm selecting it, it's not selecting what I want to select. So I just come and place it at the bottom. Then I can select my mouse without my mic without any interference or whatsoever. Alright, so podcast X, a SpaceX podcast, astronomy, blah blah blah. Now my host. I would want to place my host inside the image somewhere. So now I'll create another one called shapes. Alright, shapes. So this text here, then I'll come and create another one, name it shapes. You can double click on the name too, it also works. Shapes. Now these shapes, I'll use that to create rectangles. Nope, create circles, right? Because I'm following the theme of this background. I decide to use different things. So I'll create this. So person one will be here, and person two can be here. Control J from the last time means duplicates. Person two can be here. At this point, I have to start preparing my arrangement. Okay, so can I place the people here? The speakers over here? I don't think so. Let's try here. It's not working for me. Let's see here and here. Still not working for me. So I'll select the two layers, make it small a bit. It looks too big for me. Let's see. Okay, I'm out of ideas to add. I'll just go back to my places for inspiration and see. Over here, they have the date. Okay, the date. Watch us daily on YouTube. Then we also have tonight's guest with blah blah blah. We have the title, name, the background. We have our background. We have our microphone, our date and time. So let's see. Let me try enlarging this one and see. You can enlarge it like this. It's not bad. Um, let's bring it here and see if it doesn't work here. What do? We flip it instead. Okay, we flip it. Flip horizontally like this. Just find a place to locate. Place the podcast. You can do like this. Probably should work. Let's try moving this image to and see. So over here right now, I'm just contemplating on, so I can just be hiding some of these things. Now I'm contemplating on how to position everything. All right, that's why it's good to put all these things in the right places. So I have my text at the same time, my logo. I'll just place my logo in the over here, name it main. I always create a folder called main. That would be like the main logo or something. The main logo for the event or the event name, that will be called main. So whenever I pull my main, I know that I'm taking this whole thing along with me. Control T. I'm able to pull it along. So I'll just select this whole layers, link it together here. Then let's see. Okay, I've logged one of the layers, so I'll just unlock it by coming to click back here like this. All right. So let me zoom in. So you have SpaceX podcast. I haven't stretched much on the fonts, but don't worry. So we have this our podcast thing here. Let's try and change the color to something like this. Now let me add this thing back again. Let's see. At this point, I'm looking for the arrangement of the podcast, how it's going to be like. So am I going to be using this here like this? So these are the sort of arrangements that you may get. You can either go with, just to illustrate the arrangements, okay, you can have your text in the middle here like this. All right, then you may have some elements here, some elements here. You may have some overlays here, something here. You have something different over here, something here. That's one of the arrangements you can go with. Another kind of arrangement that you can go with is the whether left-sided, right-sided. So our text will be, let's say, on the left. Then every other thing would be on the right. We'll have our image here, like this. Our lower thirds will come somewhere here, here, and here. Then some other sort of lower thirds will come here and here. That's also an arrangement we can go with. Another arrangement we can also go with would be having our text here like this. That's at the top. Then having your background and representing the background in the red layer like this over here. Then our lower thirds would be, let's see, here, here. Maybe some details from the text to also come here like this. So it depends. The arrangements are a lot. Okay, so just look at what is nice, what will work. This arrangement, for instance, is on the right side. However, the text is positioned in the middle. All right. With other ones like this, text is positioned in the middle, but is left aligned. Okay. With other ones like this, more of the text is on the right side, but um, it doesn't really follow a strict arrangement like that. So let's see. Let me look for space X this time around. I'm getting other images like this. I could overlay these ones. The trick with this theme I'm going with being using these images is that sometimes when you overlay multiple, it actually brings out the thing well. So you can overlay a lot of things together and reduce the opacity here and there. Then you actually get something nice. Sometimes too, you may have to make it black and white before you make any image black and white. Just convert it to a smart object, just so that if you can, just so you can return back to its previous thing. Then come to mode adjustment, adjustments, black and white. Just click Bokeh, then choose, let's see, overlay or lighting or something. The background is too dark, so I'll go with let's say blue. Okay, I'll go with this blue just for the color theory. We want our image looking bluish. I like this cyan. So at this point, I'll start overlaying everything. I can maintain the colors too, so let me just maintain. Okay, so I'll go with this here. My podcast thing should be at this side. I think it was nice like that. Let's hold on with the overlay for now, and the blue for now too. We can do that at the end of the day. Okay, I think it's okay. All right, so since this is going to be here, let me see. Let me go back to my guide. So this is my guide here. Podcast. Now the podcast, what fonts are we using? Let me just conclude on the podcast and see. So the podcasts, there are a lot of fonts you can use. You can go to Google. You can search to be inspired with a font. If let's say I want to say space font, you can just type space font. Go to Google Images. Look for something which would be appealing to me. Then decide to go with that instead. Okay, what else am I looking for? Let's see. So let me just steal one or two design ideas. So this one, for instance, has the halo thing. This has a halo. I may have to add my halo to my microphone here. Okay, so I'll do that soon. But let's wait. Oh yes, good. So we have space fonts here. Now I can decide to go for any of them. Okay, so let's say this called Stella. This called this called Stella font. The space font. This is the Dune. This looks like the Dune font, but it's not the Dune font. You know, Dune the movie. Yeah. So Dune isn't what's the name space, but it seems to work. Let's see. There's this movie Interstellar, so you can use the Interstellar font to just so that we can get on the internet to download. Then we use that one. Then sort of make our podcasting nice. So let's see. Interstellar font. Yeesh. So we did for now. the Sorry. Yes. So I think I can work with this. This calls page age family. So I'll go to either that font, okay, or 1001 fonts. The fonts over there are free. Vecteezy 2 is also free, so you can go to Vecteezy and get your font from there. Sometimes too, you may have a font in mind, but then you can just search for it in either Vecteezy or 1001 fonts. Alright. The downloading thing is delaying small, so let's see. I'll download it and it should appear. Okay, while it's loading, let me just finally get the arrangement. So now that I'm sticking with this thing here, let's see. Let me place it here instead. Let's see something like this. The idea is now to use this circle, okay, for something. All right, I want to use this circle for something. Either I'm going to use it for one of the notes like date and time. I can use the circle for that. Okay, so my date and time, I'll quickly type my date and time. So let's see. I come into my text over here, then date. So today's date is Saturday. So you have Saturday. Can look for a font for that. I'll go with the font Mont. Mont is very thick. Mont. Not Montserrat, just Mont. Yeah, so Mont heavy. Then I'll reduce the size. Can go 20. Then here, Saturday, 23rd March, right? So at this point, I can decide to use 23rd March, let's say 23rd. Then I'll create a different font, a different text layer for the font and name it March. Okay, usually the arrangement of each of the elements is what actually makes the design stand out. So how you would position your text, okay, also plays a role. So I can go with 23rd March here like this. Okay, the March is too big, so I'll go with month also has the extra light text. And usually with light text, what you want to do is that you make the light text bigger in font, because the light text they can't really be seen that much, so you want to actually make it big. So I'll reduce these ones to about 15. That's 23rd March. The Saturday can be even 10. Okay. So at this point, I'm just arranging my text, okay, and that's what's actually going to help you get a good design. So I'll just do this arrangement for now. Okay, So I have my 23rd March over here. What color would I want to pick? I may decide to pick from this also. Just I want this one to be the saturated color. So I can go with this one. Good. Then for my match, instead of white, I'll go with cream or something like that. So I can go with this. Okay, not too much yellow in it. It's too yellowish for me, so I'll bring it down a bit. So 23rd March, good. Now for my host or my guest speaker and host, I can now decide to place that one here like this and like this. This should be okay. So I'll quickly get their pictures. What are their names? Yeah. You realize that even this thing that I placed over here is looking nice like this. So I'll actually add some text over here later. Selon Benjamin, if I had time, or if we had a lot of time, I'd have actually gone to look up your name on Instagram or Google search. I should get something because these days social media allows us to get a lot of information, pictures, and galleries and stuff. So I can go look up their names, pick their faces from wherever. Let's see, Mother Jemai. Let's pray we get something from Mother Jemai. If you don't get something, we just use anything. Let me see. Aside Mother Jemai, who else is here? If you have from Poma Dakwa, Salon Benjamin. Let's see. So let's say this is Mod Ajimai. Let's just say this is Mod Ajimai. Let me use this one. So this picture is 8,000 by 1,000. I'll just copy the picture from here and paste it here. Quickly do my background selection. Now this time you wouldn't do the selection like that. You just use the this selection tool, okay, and just gently select, increase the selection brush a bit, and just do your selection like this. You need just the head, so you don't need to really do all these portions. So you just select like this. I'm feeling lazy, I'll just use the select subject. So when I do my select subject, it should select it for me. Then after it's done with the selection, did a good job. If you are using 2018, you may have to manually select it, so just take note of that. So I'll add these selections to it, although I don't need them. So let's see. Yeah, you have something like this. I'll do the selection. The selection is quite clean, but you see these areas, you want to always refine your selection. So refine your selection, basically reduce the edge, the shift edge, increase the contrast, it becomes sharp, smoothen it a bit if it's looking, this thing is looking very edgy, right? Increase the radius a bit. The radius can correct some of the inconsistencies. So click on OK. Good selection. Now what will we do? We'll come and clip that into the shape. So I'll just clip that in, and I have hair inside my circle like this. Sometimes you may want to make people pop out of that. To make the person pop out of the frame, what we'll do is that we would so like this. I'll duplicate it, then I would just mask out these portions. That is basically it. Okay, mask it out, which means that now you have one layer on top and you have a layer that beneath it. So the layer beneath it enters, that's it, but the layer on top doesn't. Now with this one too, I would want to I would want to probably spice up the background with a planet. Okay, so I'm going to look for planets. At this point, the internet is slowing down, so let me just go with other things. Let's see. I like this one. I like this one not because of anything, but just because of the halo thing. So instead of me going to create the halo myself, feeling lazy, so I'll just use this one to create that. Paste it, but because I had selected my layer, it will clip it into it automatically. I can either go Ctrl Z and now click on the top layer and paste the image. That way I don't have to face that. Or I can just lift the layer up. Now I have this. I'll try and align it with this circle, my existing circle. But to check for that, I'll just reduce the opacity to about 50%, increase the size, align it with the existing circle like this. Okay, so align it like this, make micro adjustments by just using the up to enter. Then I would want to apply a blending mode. The question is, which blending mode do I apply? The image is black and light. Okay, see it as black and white. So basically see the image as this. See the image as this, black and white. Now this black and white, if I use multiplier to retain the black, if I use lighting it will let me retain the light portions. So basically that. So I'll retain the light portions by choosing lighting. Finished. Then I get the halo around here. Maybe the halo is too much. Maybe I'm not seeing the halo a lot because the shape is this thing color black, a white. So I can remove this one. I can also try making it like this. So I'll come to the image, remove the fill from the image. So the image has no fill color this time around. But you realize that to clip it has to work with the image fill. What do I do? I'll bring back the image fill this time around. So I'll bring it back like this. Just use any color, it should come up. There are a lot of ways of going about it. Either I use black. Okay, I can use this color like this. It will fake it for me. Now this halo has to be behind the woman's head so that it becomes realistic. All I have to do is shift the layer behind and voila. Okay. Now I don't like the outline. So what do? I just remove the outline. I go to my shapes. Just click on any shape. Come back. Make sure your shapes layer is selected. Come to stroke and remove the stroke from it. Press enter. Come to your selection to click outside. We have this. Voila. The stroke seems to the halo looks too much for me. What do? I start erasing around it. So I use my E. Okay, I haven't converted this into a smart layer, so I may want to convert it into a smart layer, mask it, and I'll start painting black to the outer portions. So I'll just paint black to the outer portions like this. Right click, reduce the hardness of the brush, it's too hard. Then I start painting around it like this, gently round and round and round. Too much. Round like this. Too much. Round. Then round. Trying to follow the angle from which this thing is being reflected. Okay, so something like this. Okay, let me make some portions here. So something like this is cool. Okay, when you have something like this, sometimes the brush may be too obvious, but can decide to keep it like that or go and look for a brush which allows you to do magic. This is what I mean. You click on your brush, right click, go for view brush, right click, scroll through your brushes that you have. You can download a flare brush, a brush which has a flare shape. Okay, let's see. Window, look for brushes, and this allows you to actually go through your brushes. Go and download a brush, okay, and any kind of brush that you may get. This is a smooth brush, which means that will give me some smooth shapes. So I'll use, let's say, my smooth brush. Paint white because I want these areas to show. Good. This nice. It's too much. I will use the size. Still too much. and I'll take out. Oh. Let's see. Let me reduce the size a bit. Oh, okay, this is the actual shape. So I want to rotate the shape a bit. So this is brush settings. It's just a review on the brush settings also. X. The smoke didn't work well. And look for a different brush. So I come to my brushes, make this longer. Let's see. There's a bouquet. I don't know. I just need a brush to just give me sharp edges for here instead of the. Just give me a sharp edges. So X. Sorry. My brush. Good. So I click. This is watercolor. These are brushes. If you want to download brushes, there are a lot of brushes that you can use. You can also use the default ones. Doesn't really mess things up too. Sometimes if it's too big, you may have to reduce it because it's actually bigger than. So good. So this will give me sharp edges. All right. So let's see this. It's still too much, but let me just manage with it. So let me just clean this area. Then I'll start introducing the brush. What's the name? I've flipped my brush. I'm painting white now. So I'll use this one like this. Then just come back to my normal brush. Reduce the hardness like this. Then ouch, X to change the brush and something like this. Okay, I will manage with this, but this is not what I want. Now, why is this side white? So let's see. Oh, okay. So now there's something you can also do. Something you can unlink it. Okay, this mask is directly linked to it, right? So sometimes what we want to do is unlink it. When we unlink it, it means that we can control the mask. Alt plus click on the mask. It will just show you just the mask alone. Okay. So we want to shift this shape. So control T. Then hold the shift and then shift it slightly. Then view it again and let's see what we have. Link it back again. Then now we start rebrushing around it like this. I want the light portions to show, not the white. I want the orange portions to show. Okay, so I'll link it again and let's see. I rather shift the image. Okay, good. I rather shift the image like this. Let me place my use. I think I spent a lot of time on this halo thing. Let's go back and see what we have. Okay, so this is the halo we want to work with. I've gone back too much. Yes, so this is the halo we want to work with. Rather, I'll flip it like this. Okay, I rather flip it like this. Since the other side is cleaner, mask it out, take away the outside portion with a black color like this. Good. So I think this would be better. All right, so I have this one. Then I want to do that for the other one too. So now that I have this, I can just merge these two things together. Control E to merge. Okay, the thing is not merging safe. Okay, so that's the control E. Okay, so you are just maintaining like this. But now this becomes shape 1. Okay, so I'll regroup all these things and name them shape 1 A or host 1. Then I'll duplicate it. When I duplicate it, then I'll now be able to copy my host 2 and bring it here. I'll delete the old shape like this and go and find another image of another person. Let's see. Let me just use this lady here. Copy image, copy the image, come here, paste it, do my selection. So I'll just say, I'll come over here on my left, default to select subject. You should do a clean selection, especially if the background is blurred or the background is a single color. It's done the selection. I'll mask it. It's good to go. Then move it where I want to place it. Make sure that the person's size is probably the same as the other person. To do this, you'd want to use 50% opacity, align them with their eyes. Okay, use their eyes to align the images together. Let's make sure that the eyes are the same. That should give you a fair idea or fair scale of the two images. Okay, then now I'll bring the image back to 100% opacity, hide the other one, shift this one here like this, delete the old one, then also create a duplicate of this one. Then when I create the duplicate, okay, so I'll create a duplicate of this person, duplicate, remove the other one from the back, clip this one into this image instead, then also paint away this one like this, and there you have it. Okay, so we have this. Now next, this person's skin tone is very nice, it matches with this, so that's about color theory. So we want to also match the other person's one. So what do we do? You come to a new adjustment layer, go for gradient map. Okay, if it's your gradient map, let's hide it for now. I'll hide the gradient map, then I'll open the gradient map, then the color for the gradient map. This is for the dark portion, so I'll use, let's say, the darkest portion of the person's skin color I like, or I can just do what I feel will be okay. Let's see, so the person's skin color should be around here, skin tone, the dark portion should be around here, the lightest portion of her skin tone should be around. I'm using my layer mask, but it's not working. My color picker, but it's not working because I've hidden the layer. So what I'll have to do is probably hide, probably place, and click OK for now. Push the layer, the gradient map on top. My gradient map is what I'll be using to merge, blend the colors together. So I'll put my gradient map behind, enable it, then go back to the color, double click at this side and select the color here. It's not able to select, I don't know why. So I'll just use this bright orange. Okay, so now that I have this bright orange, I'll go to my host 2, which is over here. Let me change it to host 2. Then I'll clip it inside host 2, but it appears like this. So what do? I will now go to overlay or soft light. Okay, overlay or soft light. Overlay has a lot of contrast, whereas soft light is softer. So I'll use overlay or soft light, apply it directly on the image itself like this. Okay, then I may want to take the color away from her hair, the black portions of her hair, because the other one is still black. As in the other one, black is defined as black here. maybe not too much, but and it's a bit yellowish, so I want to change the hue for that also. So to change the hue, I'll just double click on my color picker. Remove this ash from here. A color picker to try and sample this color. It's still not being able to sample. So I'll change it this time to something like the other person's skin. Around here should be fine. Then I'll come to my fill and just reduce the fill a bit. Okay. Sometimes too you can duplicate it, clip it again so it affects just the image. Then rather change it to color or luminance or something. Other times too, what you can do too is to add the selective color. Okay, still clip it into it, and red would represent your color to the skin tone. Okay, let me just switch to this so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so my selective color, I'll just go ahead and change the red to the hue of the red just to match this other person's skin tone, or just to match this orangish skin tone instead. Okay, so you can just pull your sliders up and down to just get something good. So you see that when I reduce the cyans, I'm getting something similar. So I'm now merging their skin tones together. I'm now making their skin tones look similar. Okay, and that would make up our color theory. Okay, now this lady's now I may want to conform the colors together. This person is wearing violet, this person is wearing violet and blue. So what do I do? Within my shapes, you see that I have all this within my shapes. So within my shapes, I can apply a layer, an adjustment layer, change the hue, merge it to this, clip it inside the shapes, clip it inside the shapes like this. I'll go for my, let's say, my cyans, and this way you get to change colors in Photoshop. So I'll go with let's see, change my cyans to, I think I want to maintain the cyan color. Okay, but I would make it darker a bit, so like this, make it darker a bit. Then oh sorry, that's my cyan here. I'll make it darker a bit. Then with hair blue, I want to change the hue to the cyan. Okay, to conform to the color theory I'm going for. Then now with the magentas, okay, I can decide to change that also, like this. So you can decide to play with it and let's say go with something which is okay. If you go into color theory, you can decide to go with 3 different colors. I'm going with like maybe 2, or you want to try a different color which also stand out. So let's say I use purple, so I'll maintain the purple like that. Okay, a bit dark. Good. So I have this. All right, which means that now I can change this color to the cyan here. I can use cyan for this, and it should work for me. Right, or instead I can change the Saturday color to the cyan and it should work perfectly. All right, that's the importance of the color theory. You get to use the same things all around. All right, time is almost fast spent, so I'll just be concluding around here. Next, I would mask this. B for the brush to increase the brush a bit, make sure X is the color, then paint around here like this. Good. Next, I need some stars, but I got this image. Let's see what this image can do for us. I'll mask here. B for the brush to make sure my brush is selected on the layer mask and mask out these portions so that it blends with it. Okay, that's how you do the blending. Maybe I'll increase the opacity in T. If I increase the opacity, let me switch off the black and white. Then we have this. Okay, still good, looking okay. All right, so we have Space X Podcasts. We didn't get to use our fonts. I don't know if it's done downloaded, but I'll just use an existing font I have. I'll look for thin. Should probably make all the thin fonts I have pop up, and I'll go for any of them. Okay, so let's see. Let me go for this one. Let's see. Good. So I have this font here. I've linked it together, so if I move one of them, all of them would move. So rather what I'll do is that I can decide to unlink it and just realign the podcast. So I'll unlink it from here. I'll link it here. Then now the podcast I'll shift it a bit, bearing my this thing in mind, my grid in line. Okay, good. So this I may want to reduce the opacity a bit. Good to go. Then let's see this. Now where to put this thing? Oosh. So let's see. So we can bring this one, let's say down here. I don't see the importance now. You can rotate it. Always feel free to move it anyhow you want. You can rotate it. We can make it smaller or something. Let's see. Let me leave it here. Let me leave it at the corner here. Then let's see what else is there. I'll come to think about it. I could have just used this image for the halo effect. Would have been way easier. So you something like this. Control J, duplicate it and place it behind this one. Okay, then I'll include my text here, host, and so I'll type host, increase the size a bit. So host, make this one. Okay. So I have my host over here. I can place the host here at the top. Make it a bit smaller. Control G. Make this the guest speaker. I will bring them down. Okay, so when you have text like this, you have to reduce the size. Rule of thumb, just use the set leading as the distance between each of the words on a different paragraph. You just use the same. If the font is 8, just use 8. It should give you something okay. Alright. So get speaker here. Can reduce the size, make it very small. I just try and synchronize them, make them all four. So like this. Then the name of the person will come and copy it from here. Control C, create a new layer of text, paste it here. Oh, let me retype it. I think it was Selon Benjamin. Okay, so set this as the same thing, 3. Increase the size to 5. Or let's say 10. 10 is too much, so 7. Make this 7. Okay, change the color. Let's go for this. Let's make the first name. So this the variations you include in the font and the text actually adds to the design. So you can decide to change some things about it. Either you change the color, or you change the type of font, or you just change the font altogether. So I'll change this color, make it this. Okay, so we have this like this. Control C, Control J. Once you get one, you can do the same for the other name. And this is mod Ajimai. So we have mod. Well, and with font, you can do a lot of things. Currently, I'm using capital letters. I can decide to use, I'm using uppercase. I can decide to use lowercase for this side. Okay, and Photoshop has an effect to induce the, of course, uppercase or lowercase. So you can just turn that off. Okay, so if I turn that off, I have this. And I have to realign it. So I make it HMI. And I'm not getting my lowercase text because the fonts I used, Lemon Milk. Excuse me. The font I use, Lemon Milk, is all caps by default. So I may use something else. Let's try Futura. So I use Futura for this side, and I'll use Futura 2 for this side. Okay, it's all caps. Let me see, I'll just type small letters, but then I'll have to record that. Okay, so we have this. Maybe we may have to add other details to the whole thing, but basically this is how our flyer is going to be like. There's some blue over here. Okay, you realize there's some blue at the top there. I want to make the blue like very prominent. So what do? I can decide to duplicate this one. Okay, make the opacity 100 and just take it out. Take out the rest of the portions I don't need, like this. So at least my view is really showing. And take out this portion too. X, take out this portion. Okay, so I think basically we have a flyer. Any other thing we would add would just be extras, like, so right now our text isn't organized well, so I'll just head over to my text, group all these ones, and these will be, I'll name all these names. Okay, name. Head over to my text layer and place it there. Group the date, time, and venue thing. So this will be date. Create another one for time. Okay, so my time can come here. And my venue, so let's say Spotify, Twitter Spaces or X Spaces. X spaces, Google Meets. You get the idea. So you after creating these ones, let's see. Let me change my font, or probably use a font that I've already used, Mont. So I can create. Let's see. Let me use Ruby. Regular. The width of the text should be the same as uh, the the font size. So I have this. Yes, I can place this one here like this. Spotify, Google Meet, and this, and you realize that within my my what is it my the guides. Okay, so I have Spotify, this and that. Then I can decide to go head over to Google and now download Spotify logo. But I'll add icon to it. When I add icon to it, I'm able to, okay, 1 hour 44 minutes. That's not bad. I'll add icon to it. Okay. Then I can come and insert it here. If I want my logo to have like different, let me make the text white so that it pops out well. Good. So if I want this flyer to have let's say varying logos, I can go for these ones. Okay. Or I can decide to go for something that I can just color as one. So if I go for this one, I can copy it, come over here, add it to my lower text, Control V. Might say the same way we did the selection, we would press Alt, click on that image alone, go to select, then select the color range. It should be already selected because it's white or black, or at least I can select this side instead. Increase the fuzziness, see okay, and mask it out. When you are done, gently click back on Alt, hold the Alt and click back on the eye. You should get this. Then I can place that here. Oops, something else has been selected. So I'll just come back here again, gently click on this. Okay, Control T, I can move this over here, reduce the size. So we have this. And to color it, you can decide to go into the layer styles by double clicking. So when you double click, you can go to color overlay. Then we can decide to choose the color of our space X. Click OK. Are good to go. So we've also done space X. We've done our masking, we've done the sketching, we've done arrangement, we've done layers, selections, resolution. Basically done everything now. I can decide to make this smaller. So I can make it a bit smaller. Shift and move it. So that's for Spotify. Let's go to X spaces. So X spaces, X space logo. Then we'll also be looking for Google Meet logo. You can even pick the Google Meet from screenshots. If, for instance, if this Google Meet that we had here had this logo there, I can just screenshot it from the PC and do that. Oh, let me see X logo. Twitter. Sometimes you may want to go for the PNGs. Okay, but just if you have a PNG, it becomes easier. But that's if you save the PNG. Sometimes when you right click and say copy, you can actually copy the PNG. So that's actually also easy. So with respect to theme, if we are going for colored logos, fine. But if you're not going for colored logos and you want round, we are going for everything being round, you can decide to use, see, this arc here is round, there's round here, there's round here, round here, round here. Then we can decide to go for our round logo also instead of the square shaped one. Okay, so come over to here, just paste it. After pasting, you can do our selection again like this. We want to select black, color range, select the black. There's black, so that's why you're not seeing the shape, but good. Selected the black, alt, select it back again, double click, go to layer styles, add a color value, this color, reduce the size, make it a similar size to the other one. Okay, then we want to add Google Meet lastly, so Google Meet. Okay, it's loaded here, so I'll come back to my images. I can just right click on this one, so hopefully if it's clear enough. Come back to this, paste it. Okay, with this one I'll be selecting white. So now this will happen when you select, when you don't solo it out. You have all this thing, we select almost everything, although you can still go about it. So you get this. Okay, now instead of going back to my layer style, copy layer style, I just say copy, right click and paste the layer style, and I'm good to go. Okay, but we can go in here. Okay, I want Google Meet to be yellow in color, and we can see color. Okay, and we'll do it within the shades of that color we selected. Okay, if we say luminosity, you may get something also. I think color will be the best. Yeah, color will be the best. Let's explore that one too to see. So color works, so reduce color, then you reduce the size, make it small. I won't be increasing the size soon, so that's why I haven't created it. I haven't made it this thing. But you realize that with this one, it's not round shape, so we just go for the one which is round, has a round shape to it. Okay, so this we can invert this. Okay, and when you invert, you can add a round shape to, or you can just come here and say Google Meet round logo icon, round logo icon, or round logo. Let's see what you get. Okay, so we have our lower text. Whilst it's loading, let's just do an overview of what we've done. Okay, so we have our fly here, we had our background, we had our overlays, the shapes, the text, the main text, our lower text here. Yes, I think this should be the one. This isn't really the best. The logo inside is too small, but you can decide to use you can decide to create ours instead. So let's see, I'll invert this one again and create a circle around it. first of all, you realize that there are these things around it, so I have to import all of that. So I'll move this. Move this one here. Move the one here. Move the one here. Then I'll create a circle around it. It should be below. I'll create a circle here like this. Just try and make sure that it's similar to the other one. Okay, shift it, bring it here. Reduce the size of this one. Make this one the same color, and probably make this one dark. Okay, so it's close to black. So we'll come over here and see image, and then we'll go for levels. Then we'll darken it. Shift here, darken it like this. Okay, so this should be a dynamic logo. Alright. Since there's none, we have created one now. So we have this. Okay, and that's what makes your flyer unique in that sense. Alright, so we have this here like this. Now at this point you can decide to change the positioning of this, either place it here or place it on top or wherever you feel it should be okay. I think this here it should be alright. Okay, if there's any other thing you would want to place, you want to position, and you also do that there. Change the text alignment to right aligned like this. Then probably add some random text in here. Yeah. Now let's look for our microphone and see what we can do with the microphone. This is our mic. Okay, I think it can be here. Yeah, it can be here. So we'll just place we can duplicate. Okay, now with the layer styles, this is just one thing. I think I illustrated that in the last session. You can create a stroke. All right, you can create a stroke for it. Probably make the stroke smooth, or let's see, like this. Let's see, something like this. Okay, then you click on it and say create layer. When you create layer, it will split it from the image. Okay, so I'll hide this one like this. Good. So we have this. Okay, so this is the image here, but it's showing white beneath it because of there are holes inside this thing. All right, we removed every single thing from it. So what you will do is that now that I have this, I may want to shape this a bit like this. Okay, probably make it smooth also. So to make it smooth, I'll just click on control. If you click control and click on a shape, it will give you the selection of the shape, and you now create a mask from it. You want to make the mask smooth, so you double click on it to make it smooth like this. Reduce the edge a bit, sharpen it small. Yes, like that. Okay, so we have at least a smoothing now. So you can have something like this. You can either make it big. And if it will be big like this, it means that we may have to do some adjustments to the other one. So I'll be shifted it here a bit. So that's now our text over here. The dates and all can also be shifted a bit like this. Okay. Then instead, let me just place this one over here. So I'll place the lower text at the side instead. Okay. Then we can hide this one. Good. So you have something like this. Then I may want to bring back the spaces inside, but then I save it as a this thing there, so I can't be really doing anything about it unless to paint black beneath it. So to paint black beneath it, I'll just create a new layer over here, create a new layer, and just sample the color black. Click on my brush to switch off the caps lock, and it will make you see your brush with it. Click on black and just paint beneath it like this, so that we fill in those holes there. Okay. Can increase the hardness a bit too, then fill it in like this. Yeah. I can also decide to change this color. I can double click on it like this. Either you create a layers adjustment layer for hue and saturation, clip it inside, or you can come over here and change that from here also. You can also decide to use gradients instead of the plain color. That also can be done. Okay, you can use the gradients like this. That can easily be done too. So it just depends on what you are going for. I think this is okay. You can conclude here. If there's any question, let me know with respect to the workflow, with respect to anything you didn't understand. Just let me know so I address it now before we close the session. Okay. I think I make it blue. Make it blue instead. Let's see. I'll apply a gradient map right here. The gradient map determines the colors according to the gradient. So if I want a blue here, so I'll pick my blue like this. Then I can decide to go in for so this is for the light portions. Light portions, I can either go for this or this, the yellow. I think something like this should be okay. You can add, so at this point you can keep on adding a lot of things. You can add overlays. You can add that's why the overlays portion is empty here, because we haven't really added a lot of the overlays and all. Okay, but you can add a lot of things at this point. You can play with some of the text, create stroke effects and all those things, and basically a whole lot. So I'd like to end here. We spent about Let's see, almost 2 hours, I think. Yeah, 2 hours, 3 minutes on this, generating our idea, going from nothing to or just an idea to the end of a flyer. Basically, this tutorial was looking at how best you can um, use Photoshop, or looking at how to actually go about your workflow. Okay, so I want to believe that we've all learned, or we would have all learned a lot from these things that we have learned here. All the shortcuts have been given, and I think I've taken my time to go through. If you don't understand anything whilst you are watching the video, go through one more time again. I think it should be clear at some point. Okay, it should be clear at some point. Yes. So if there's any question, you can take them now. If there's no question too, then I think we'll probably be ending our broadcast here, our uh, session here. Okay. So this is just an overlay I'm trying to add. Okay. Okay. I think that's fine. The light flare can go anywhere basically. Okay, I think we can conclude here. Final things you may want to do would be merge everything. So Control Alt Shift E, merge everything together. You go to Filter, Other, High Pass, select one. Then whenever you see this ash thing, 50% ash, you can use linear light to add sharpening to it. The sharpening would obviously be too much. You can reduce it to 40 to 30 to 20, depending on the amount of sharpening you want. When you are done, you come to File, Export as. You can change your export settings. Use 1, 2, 3 by the modification, by how much you should magnify it. Then let's say I choose 3 I worked with 3080, so which means I should be bringing me around 3000 and something. The suffix I can change it to JBSNmedia. That should make the end of, or that should make the suffix of the whatever I'll name it as JBSNmedia. Now this here with my format for my exporting is at 6 and this is 400. By 3 would be around 1.2 megabytes. So I'll just quickly do the export.